what we're working with here today are two pieces of cardstock that are coordinating colors and that will fit our die. Now my die is the Nested Starburst die set, and I have not cut it apart. If you have yours and you have cut it apart already, then you just want to put it back together in this configuration and kind of hold it together with some washi tape. Then the other thing I have is some adhesive. I have coordinating twine or string, and I have a couple of beads. And so what we're going to do here is make, you could decor or wind spinner, whatever you want to call it. Okay? Okay, so what I have here is my crossover 2, and I am using the Nested Starburst die set. Now I have not cut mine apart, and I'm going to leave it like this, but if you've cut yours apart, that's fine. You can put it back in this configuration and just hold it in place with washi tape, a magnet, anything like that that would work. So I have my sandwich here, and I'm going to send this through, and I might need to make it a little bit tighter here. Let's see. And I have two coordinating colors of cardstock. So what I'm doing here is I'm cutting out, I want all these shapes like so. Alright, and that one didn't seem to cut quite deep enough, so I will do that again on the dark blue piece. So yeah, we can see here on the lighter one that it worked just fine. So this is what I want, and I really don't want to pop anything apart yet. I want to just kind of leave it all nested together like that. Alright, so I have my two pieces of cardstock cut out and still placed as they're nested together. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a piece of washi tape and just kind of hold those in place. Okay, so I just want to take a nice piece. If you stick it to your clothing, you want to make sure that it doesn't rip your paper if you have some pretty strong tape that you're using. I just do it as a precaution just to make sure that the tape will, you know, come off my piece when I need it to. So I'm going to kind of hold this one back in place because it shifted on me. Alright, and then I'm just going to run the tape across it. Okay, so now I have the two pieces held in place. So I'm going to flip those over. Alright, and then we're going to remove every other piece. And this is why we wanted it taped in place. Is just take your time and be patient and pull those apart without disturbing the placement if you can. Alright, so I'm going to alternate every other one and pull up the piece that I don't need. And then these can be set aside and used in another piece. Okay, so that's the first one, and now I'm going to move on to the second one. Alright, so now that I've done that, these should line up accordingly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my twine, find the end here, pull some off. I'm going to go quite long because I can always cut it off later. So, alright, get my scissors back put away. Now I'm going to take my twine here and I'm going to fold the piece in half. So I'm going to get the ends here, line them up, and then here at the top. Okay. Now I'm going to decide how much of this loop I want exposed at the top of my piece. So I'm going to do something like that. And now I'm going to stick that down to the washi tape as well, because that will really help me out. And if you can, actually I'm going to go on the dark blue piece and I'm going to show you why in just a minute here. Alright, what I want to do here is I want to try to center it on one of these pieces. So here is a point and I want that piece to go right through the center of those pieces. So just take a few seconds to get that lined up correctly. And you should be able to then go right through the center at the bottom as well. So I'm going through the center of each of those points. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put adhesive on this dark blue piece. I have a few little hairs here of paper. Clean those up. Alright, so I'm going to go around this, starting in the center here with a bit of adhesive, and then I'm just going to go around each piece. Make sure you get the string when you come to it and you're gluing. And I'm just going to go a little bit thicker on this side over here. It looks a little thin to me. Okay. So now I'm going to take the lighter blue pieces, turn them over, so my tape is on the top, and I'm going to line those points up where I can see them. And this is why it was really important to cut those pieces together with the die taped together so that this whole piece lines up correctly. And once you have that in place and it looks good, while the glue is still wet, you can kind of slide and move things around a little bit. Right. And now that I like that placement, I'm going to slowly remove my washi tape. And I definitely don't want to pick up any of the paper as I go along. Now, to finish this off, I want to string my beads in place. So I have beads that have quite a large opening, and so what I'm going to do first is tie a knot in my cord and decide how far down I want those beads to hang. Alright, so that's where my first bead is going to go. And I'm going to string this on here. I can cut these at an angle if I'm having trouble feeding them through the bead, but hopefully I have one here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a piece of my washi tape. Here's a little trick. And I'm going to tape these pieces together like so, and I'm going to roll this thing up really, really tight and make a needle, basically, out of my washi tape. And I just want to roll that to make sure I can get it as thin as possible. And that will make, hopefully, going through my bead a little bit easier. And it looks like I'm still a little too fat here. So I'm going to try to fold this in half. If not, then I'll take a beading needle and use it. Let's see if this will work for us. Cute idea, but I don't know if I got it small enough. Okay, I'm going to take that off and use even a smaller amount. So, grab my scissors here and cut off excess tape. And if this little teeny sliver doesn't work for me, then I'm definitely going to have to use a needle. Okay, so either that or a bigger bead. Alright, so I've got it taped. See how this goes through here? I'm going to roll it, cut it on an angle, just to get it started through there. Okay. There we go. That worked much better. Okay. So we've got this bead in place now, and then we're just going to tie another knot. And pull it up tight to that bead so we secure it in place. And I'm just using the end of a paintbrush here to kind of get that up and where I want it. There we go. And I have a hair that's messing with me here. Okay, so I have one more bead that I want to put on the end, and that's just my choice for looks. You can do yours how you want. Hopefully I made that piece of tape long enough to go through this bead, just barely. Okay, this one's giving me a little bit of fits. I'm going to add another piece of tape on here. to make it a little bit longer. All right. And now I'm just twisting this to kind of help it get it through there. I'm just trying to stiffen up the end, and you can do that with tape, you can do that with glue. If you don't have a needle where you can use it. Alright. And that worked because I've come out the other side. Just a little teeny tiny small piece has come out, so I am going to use some pliers here to help me reach it. This bead seems to be hollow inside, and so my thread seems to be going all over the place in there. Okay, there we go. There's that hair again. All right. So then I can decide where I want this bead to hang. Okay, I'm just going to drop it down just a little bit and tie a knot. So that it holds that bead in place there. And that should do it. Alright, now the tail here, I can leave it long, I can fray it, I can cut it off, I could add a tassel. But once this is dry, what you have then is a piece that can spin, like so. So if I hang this underneath here and blow on it, hopefully you can see those twirl around. Okay, so I saw my extra pieces sitting off to the side, and I thought, you know, they could easily be added onto the same piece. And I did. I added them to the bottom because I had that long string attached. So I now have this one. And, you know, when we glued this one together, we glued it together with the colors all on the same side correctly. This one I glued together alternating. So when it spins, we may get a little bit more variety in the colors. So the only thing I need to do now is grab another bead and add it to the end, or make a tassel and hang it off the bottom. And now I have a piece that is multi-layered. I did this one off camera, and the only reason I did that is it was a little bit harder to line up, and you can see here that I've missed a little bit. If I turn it over to this side, maybe you can see the dark blue paper showing up on the lighter paper. I'm off by a little bit, but I think when it's spinning, you probably won't see that problem. So yeah, I made it, you know, a little bit more than I originally had intended once I saw my extra pieces. And so I have the beads in the middle, and then I just need to decide what I'm going to put on the bottom.